I mean, I guess to start, like, can you give us an intro on like who you are and then what you're building?
Yeah, so I'm Ty Schenkty, founder of Keeta. I've been in the space since 2012. I got started when I was doing some engineering work on like Minecraft servers when I was a lot younger, and someone wanted to pay me in Bitcoin, and so that's kind of how I got into it. And then I've just been building various projects over the years, and in 2018, I built a crypto payment processor on the currency called Nano. Um, and the concept was like bring everything from the PayPal experience into crypto. And during that time is when I wrote the core thesis for Keeta. Um, and then I kind of sat on it for a couple of
In
years doing the
2018?
yeah.
Whoa.
So then I've been in 2021, end of 2021, I pitched Eric Schmidt, our primary investor, on the concept, and he said, "Look, this is one of the biggest things that can be a part of in my career. Like, just go build it, and I'll help you." So we've been building since.
Whoa. Okay, you wrote the thesis for Keeta in 2018. What is the thesis for Keeta?
Yeah. So when we were onboarding merchants at the point of kind of Nano's peak, we had over 100,000 merchants, and the messaging was very simple. We want to accept crypto. We're really excited about it, but from a business perspective, we can't hold the volatility, and we need to be able to trade into other assets. This was before stablecoins were really that relevant on Ethereum, and so what I really wanted to do was, and I proposed this to Nano at the time, is to expand their support for multi tokens. So you could have other first class citizens. You could then trade, within the network into something like a stable coin. At the time, I kind of explained it as like a digital fiat, but effectively the same thing. And I wanted to be able to also communicate with external systems that, uh, like similar to how PayPal works today. Like PayPal doesn't actually do everything themselves; they partner with people around the world. Visa's the same way. So I wanted to build something that was flexible to actually like solve the money problem globally. And ultimately, Nano kind of took the position that it was too big of a rewrite to do within their project, and so I stepped away from that. And
Mhm.
thankfully, in 2021, I got the chance to build it again.
Well, and how did you get Eric Schmidt on board? Like, how did you know it?
Yeah. That was just through a mutual friend. So a friend of mine, he met Eric in New York at a Web3 event, um, and Eric's always just for context, like he's always looking for younger people with like really big ideas, and he likes just like intellectual conversation. So that's kind of what it was based on. I wasn't really looking to fundraise. I was building a social media app at the time, and I told him, I said, this is my idea. It's really expensive, but like if we're gonna do something, like this is what I would want to do. And he said that's like the biggest thing that I've ever heard. And
Whoa.
he spent 10 plus years working at Google, so um, yeah, it meant a lot. And so we had a conversation with my investors on the social media app, and I said, look, I have to go build this, and
Whoa.
so we did.
That's sick. Wait, how much did he invest?
Uh, to date, it's about 20 million total, but started at 2 million. He followed on with an additional 15, and then a couple other smaller amounts more recently.
Whoa.
Yeah,
20 mil is crazy.
yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
Congrats. What?
Super
So
grateful for him.
I first found out about keto when it was fucking just God ripping up only. Like,
Yeah.
why did the coin go up so ridiculous so fast? And like, what would you say is like the thesis for traders that are buying this coin?
Yeah, traders is probably a tough one for me. I try to kind of stay away from
Mm.
market conversation, but um, I think I can speak to generally the launch. We took a really kind of controversial position. Almost every L1 that's launched historically has been VC backed, and they just kind of perpetually dump on you. And so we wanted to take something that's a little bit more, uh, I don't want to use the word fair, but something that's more democratic, where um, you know we just put it out there at like as low value as possible, and then just see what happens, basically. And we wanted the tech to kind of speak for itself. I mean, if we wanted to, I think we could have very easily launched at the high valuations that everyone else has launched at. But I think the way that we've launched is actually our advantage. We have a community that's much larger than anyone else. Um, we have over 10,000 active contributors on the community side. So
Whoa.
um, I think being able to have that support circle around you, and we're only 3-4 months in, is really kind of our benefit. I mean, a lot of the partnerships, a lot of the things that we're doing behind the scenes now are driven by the community. We have large holders out there that are flying around meeting large companies on our behalf. Like that's something that others don't have. So it gives you this this kind of superpower that by having your community bought in, that others haven't had, and that I think is what predominantly led to the success early.
What did price did you guys launch at?
Oof, it was fractions of a penny. I forget the exact price, but yeah,
Well, like sub
yeah,
10 mil market
it was
cap.
like a 5 mil market cap or something smaller than that,
Whoa.
super small.
Damn, I didn't realize it was that. And why don't more people do that if you know it's gonna get to like
I
the
mean,
price that you
I
want
think
anyways?
it depends on kind of how the token and project generally are built, right? Like we were funded, like Keeta started out as um, like we deliberately didn't want to be crypto. Like we wanted to actually take a traditional fiat approach and apply the blockchain uh, privately to FIs, and we did a lot of that work over the last 3 years. Um, like we're very tech driven, and so our incentive is on that front. I think for others, they were focused on, we want to be a cryptocurrency, and so they wanted the token to be valued high, and they tied that early investment into the tech to the token. Whereas for us, it's not. Um, but yeah, it's just, I think, different strategy. I think the way that we view it, the public network is one product of many products of the tech, and um, to be clear, it's the only it's going to be the only network that can do this. Like we're not allowing the tech to be deployed in other competitive scenarios. But if, for example, a major FI wanted to use our tech internally, that doesn't necessarily tie to the token, but it is compatible with the token. So we have kind of a hybrid model that's a little different than others.
What's an FI? Am I supposed to know that? Should I know what that
Financial
is?
institution,
Oh, okay,
so like
okay,
a
okay, okay,
large
okay.
bank or, yeah, payment network.
Um, when is the full launch?
um, so we released kind of a checklist of things that we need to do prior to mainnet launch. We were planning to do that originally in June. The community was pretty vocal that they wanted us to do a stress test instead. So we did the stress test, and then we kind of reorganized the timeline. So I think what I can say publicly right now is it's going to be this summer, but we have a checklist of things that we want to do, and our plan is to regularly release uh, those features or functionalities that we need, and then kind of as a community and kind of building in public, you guys will see, as we get closer to mainnet, hey, there's one item left, we're pretty close. So
What's
uh, we launched the roadmap or checklist last week, and we checked the first thing
oh
off, and I
sick.
think we're going to do potentially the second thing very soon.
What's like the biggest bottleneck on the checklist to get done for launch? Like, what's the most difficult line item?
Yeah, and actually, I will say there was a little bit of misunderstanding around that reorganization. It's not tech driven; it's really all of the kind of support around it. So we want to make sure like there's a lot of documentation. We want to make sure that we have the team in place from a community perspective to support builders, things like that. So it's a lot of non-technical items. There are a few technical items. For example, our anchor framework is kind of a big deal. We want to make sure that that's really fleshed out before um, we make it mainnet. But it's a lot of just like we want to kind of make sure our house is clean before we invite a bunch of
Yeah, yeah,
guests.
yeah.
Is kind of the thought process.
That's valid. Can you overview like your TPS and like settlement speeds, how they compare to other
Mhm.
chains, and then like the trade offs you have to make to get there?
Yeah. Yeah. So we did a public test about a month ago. Is 11 million TPS is where we peaked.
Whoa.
And yeah, so like I don't know, 1000x what anyone else has ever done. Um, and we maintained about 400 millisecond settlement time during that process. Um, the predominant change that we have that others don't have is something like Solana is like a single node, and you can only build that server up as big as you can. Whereas for us, we are tens of thousands of nodes, so we um, instantly react. We're cloud based, so we instantly scale up and down with demand, similar to how Google.com or Amazon.com work. Um, and that's made the like it's made the tech like really complicated from a state management perspective, but it's also really simple because we don't have to worry about something like DDoS where others do. We just kind of react in real time. So when we were doing that stress test, we were actually uh, kind of attacking ourselves. We had 120,000 instances, servers that we spun up, kind of attacking itself, and that was what generated the traffic. So it was four regions around the U.S., and we legitimately sent traffic to each other. It was
Whoa.
cool.
What are like the sort of like centralization trade-offs you have to make to get to that aggressive speeds?
Yeah. It's not too like theoretically you could do the same thing that everyone else does.
Uh-huh.
For us, from a consensus mechanism, we decided to do delegated proof of stake. So it's like a democratic process where you choose a rep to vote on your behalf.
Uh-huh.
You can change that at any point. That was kind of aligned with the scalability, but it's more of kind of a um, just a kind of subjective decision, I guess. Um, I think the main trade-off that a lot of people look at in Web3 is that everything is largely smart contract based, whereas for us, we actually moved everything or 95% that's in smart contracts on chain natively. So
Mm,
if you create a token, you can create a token on Keeta in like 30 seconds,
okay.
whereas on Solana or something, you have to write a contract. So there are some trade-offs there, but most of the functionality you can do, on Kita. It's just what I believe is a more efficient way than how it's done traditionally.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks for explaining that. So I'm curious, like when you're fully live, how does activity on top of Kita like relate back to the token? Like how does that work?
So the good question. So the token pays for transaction fees, and it also is based on the voting mechanism. It's also direct correlation to your voting power on the network.
Okay.
Um, so if you hold, 1% of the token, you have 1% of the vote theoretically, and you can choose someone, either yourself or someone else, to vote on your behalf.
Yeah, makes sense. It feels like there's this like the toughest thing with new chain. Like it feels like most of the new chains that have launched the last like year or two just haven't done very well, and there's sort
Mhm.
of like Solana and ETH dominance. Like,
Yeah,
how are you gonna get people? Like, how do you get people to actually use the chain when it's live? Like, how do you get
and,
users?
you know, I'm going to be a little abrasive, so I apologize. But like, I think with Kita, like we've just been even from day zero before I took any money from Eric. Like I one of the things I told him is like I want to solve a problem. I don't want to like build a solution and then look for a problem to solve. Like there are a lot of, especially almost every L1 recently is just like built to like find something to do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for us, we're like, okay, we want to solve the asset movement issue globally, and we want to do it, to replace things like Swift. We want to improve how Visa moves money. Like we, at a very granular level, that's what we want to solve, and we modeled everything around Kita to solve that problem. And so for us, we have a very methodical approach and a very focused approach on how do we actually address that issue, and all of our partnerships are going to be around that issue. Whereas I think others are like trying to find market fit. We're really kind of narrowing our scope and saying, look, we're not going to be the home for everyone. Like can you launch memes on Keeta? Yes, but I'm not going to run out and say, hey, I'm a Solana competitor. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we want to just know what we're really good at and focus on that. And I think, and what we've seen already is that's going to be really successful.
What you mentioned partnerships. Like, what are the partnerships you're excited about?
The main ones ultimately is we want to go. So I've said this in our X Spaces before. Um, like my main goal is I want to debank myself by the end of 2025. So I
Debank
want
yourself by entering five.
so I want a Keeta app where I put all my assets on there, fiat, tokenized fiat, cryptocurrencies, potentially tokenized stocks, like whatever I can put on there. I want an app where I can have all my assets, and then if like you wanted a wire transfer in the US, like I could just go on my app and say, okay, I'm going to send you US dollars. I enter your wire information, and stablecoins instantly go into US dollars and out over, wire to you. Like that is my goal. And so from a partnership perspective, that's what we're really aligning with is how do we get the asset issuers to issue natively on chain and connect us into the rails, whether it be another cryptocurrency or a fiat network to do that. So another example is like if I hold tokenized Bitcoin and you want to receive Bitcoin, I should be able to pay you in Bitcoin from my Keeta wallet without you ever knowing that I'm using Keeta.
Uh,
It should just take my tokenized Bitcoin and say, okay, I'm paying you.
did you say by the end of 2025?
Yeah.
Okay, this might be a retarded question, but like, what? Why would you want to be debanked by the end of 2025? Like, what are the practical benefits for like a consumer to be able to do that?
I think there's two ways to answer the question. One, for myself and for the team, I think it's really important that we deliver value. Again, to like us methodically solving the issue. Like, I don't want to just be another chain. Like, I want to be something that actually contributes to society. Ultimately, this is my legacy project, and so that's really kind of the reason I'm pushing hard. But broader answer is I think we can really solve a lot of issues in remittances, and in a lot of applications where right now you're taking on up to 5% of a fee to move money to your family or something, and we should be able to do that in real time for a fraction of the cost. And I think if we succeed in doing that, you may not know that we're doing it behind the scenes, but you'll just notice that the user experience is a lot better and it's a lot cheaper.
I like the 2025 thing. You don't have that much time, dude.
Dude, I'm fucking trying.
You
Like,
don't have that much time. You're like 5 months to close your Bank of America account, dude.
bro, I'm running like 20-hour days right now.
What's the relationship with World Liberty Fi? Why they hold Keeta, don't they? What the fuck? You like homies with
I
Trump?
think my understanding is like one of our whales just kind of sent them some on one day,
Okay.
one of the early days. So I do think they're doing a lot of interesting things though.
I don't know if you know anything like if you have a take on this, but the Genius Act like didn't pass today. Does that
Yeah.
have any impact on like what you guys are trying to do with Keeta, or maybe more broadly, if not crypto in general?
Well, one, I think it's really good for crypto as a whole. I've thought this for a long time. I think regulation is actually something that should be welcomed, and I think you saw that with Brian from Coinbase
Uh
and,
huh.
and a lot of big leaders. Um, just because and I'll talk, I guess, more broadly. Kita supports native compliance on chain, so we can basically say, we can have like all your KYC information on a certificate. And so if you go and interact with a Coinbase through the Kita wallet, they don't need to ask you for all that shit again. They just have it, and your wallet can automatically populate it.
Okay.
And I think that is one of our unique advantages where we're actually built to be able to actually onboard all of this usage. I mean, there's $12 trillion that moves a day. That's not going to move onto a random Ethereum network without, hey, who's the sender and who's the recipient,
Yeah.
so we built it to include the things that are required. And with the Genius Act and I think broadly regulation around the world, um, it's really kind of clarifying what the position is, and then people can kind of build around it. And fortunately, I think we're the best position to do it because we kind of saw that, like I said, 2, 3 years ago, we
Yeah.
started building that. So yeah, I welcome it. I think it helps us. I think it probably is going to, like, execution wise from a government level is probably going to be a little interesting. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be how they think it's going to be, but we'll see.
Who's your competition? Like, does anyone have the same debanked by 2025 thesis, or is that like not?
I don't, I don't really think so. I mean, like, we get bundled against Solana, against Ripple, against Swift, against Visa,
Ripple's a
like a
decent
lot.
one, right?
Yeah, but like if you look at their product, like they don't have. I mean, not to their fault. Like they were launched in 2014. Like they don't have a lot of the same things that we have. I think they're trying to get there, but um, you know, I think it's really important to have native first class assets, like being able to create a US dollar stablecoin or Mexican peso stablecoin instantly on Keeta is like really big issue. And the other networks are kind of delayed on that process. So there's not really a direct competitor per se, but I think especially in 2025, there've been a lot of people moving, in that direction. In particular, like tokenized stocks have been huge recently.
Um, Dude, this has been sick. Your community goes fucking hard, by the way. You're getting blown up to have you on. I guess it's sort of like
Yeah.
a full circle like closure. Like, how would you describe what the win condition is for Keto?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a couple of challenging weeks recently. A lot of people are, being able to kind of talk about us and things that aren't that true. But overall, I think the community has been really excited about what we're doing, and for me, it's just been kind of heads down and keep executing. As I said to a lot of our community already, it's like as long as we continuously deliver, everything else is going to sort itself out. Like the tech is going to speak for itself, the community is going to speak for itself, our partners are going to speak for itself. Like we have partners where the catalyst is probably the biggest thing that another chain would have, and we have multiple. So it's like it, I don't know, like I don't like to like hype things up, but like I just am very confident in how I go about things. I mean, I was watching your stream before you called me, and you asked a question about percentage of assets. Like Keeta is like my whole thing. Like I'm like
Like full
fucking
net
in.
worth is
So
Keto?
pretty much. I mean, I obviously have other things, but like I I have really bet like everything, all social capital, everything on this, and it's because I just know that it needs to happen, and everyone around me kind of agrees with that. So um, as long as we keep our heads down, we stay focused, and we execute on what we say we're going to execute on, I think we're in a really good direction, and it should be exciting.
Hey, why'd you guys catch a zachxbt stray the other week? What was that?
I don't know. I it's like I sent Zach a message because I kind of I felt a little bad from our community was talking shit back to him, but I was like, bro, like what you're saying is not true, so I don't know. For me, like I said, I try to just stay focused and what people are gonna like Roy on our team. He said something pretty funny. He's like it's 100% guaranteed that someone will be wrong on the internet.
Yeah, facts. That's a
So
good take. I like
it's
that.
like
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want to like live your life, I have a lot of friends that are like influencers and stuff. Like if you want to live your life worrying about what other people say, like you're never gonna get anything done. So yeah,
Yeah, it was a crazy stray.
dude, it was nuts.
um, hey, all I'm saying is to keep building some hype. You should get Eric Schmidt on the stream next.
I mean, we can talk about it.
Dude, this was sick. Ty, I really
Yeah,
appreciate you coming
appreciate you
on.
having me on.
I'm gonna rip some clips. We'll post it on YouTube. Like I'll send you all the media. But I'm rooting for you guys. This was fun.
Yeah, happy to come on again in the future.
Maybe come drop mainnet on the stream.